McIver Court residents say they fear for their safety in the wake of the latest violent incident there. Good evening and thank you for joining us. There's still no update from Thunder Bay Police about the city's first homicide of the year. They were dispatched to the apartment complex on Lincoln Street around 10 o'clock Tuesday night.
The adult male victim was found in critical condition and later died in hospital. Brendan Miller joins us now in studio. Brendan, you got the chance to speak with some of the tenants in the building.
Yes, I did, Ryan. Earlier today, we went to McIver Court to talk to residents and get their reaction to the homicide. It happened on the 6th floor of the building, which has seen more than its share of troubling incidents in recent years. When we first arrived here at McIver Court on Thursday afternoon, there was an ambulance parked outside. According to one resident, there had been an assault just prior. Meanwhile, on the 6th floor, where Tuesday's homicide occurred, 2 police officers guarded the doors as the investigation continued into its 3rd day. One resident we spoke to, Sherry Haney, says death is not uncommon here, nor is the use of drugs. She spoke about some of the traumatic things she's witnessed since she moved in last year.
There's too much going on in here. People stabbing each other. They do crack outside the hall elevators. They shoot up homeless people. I can't bring my grandchildren here. So I waited 10 years for this stupid apartment. I got dealers everywhere on my floor. People are banging at my door. I don't answer it unless I know someone's coming up, like Janice. It's an awful place.
Another resident we spoke to, Gordon Malcolm, lives on the same floor as the homicide victim and was acquaintances with him. He's well aware of the problems inside this building, but was still shocked at what happened.
It was startling, of course. You know, it's surprising when you live in a building. There's so many people here that you know and you don't know, and then when you find out that you know the person, not that much, but it's enough that you know the person, right? It is, like I said, startling and it's very shocking. It is troublesome, you know, wondering like, what's next, you know. But there's a lot of police here, and they're asking questions, and the right questions. They're doing a very good job, and you feel safe when they're here. But what's going to happen afterwards?
Other residents voiced their concerns with us while we were there. They didn't want to be on camera, but they too are beyond troubled by the events that occur inside their building. City police are expected to provide an update on the homicide on Friday. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
A snowplow operator employed by MCON Services has been charged by Thunder Bay OPP following a collision this morning on the south end of the city. It happened just after 8 o'clock at the corner of Highway 61 and Chippewa Road. The other vehicle involved was an SUV which sustained heavy damage. The OPP say fortunately the driver of the SUV and his 2 sons managed to avoid serious injuries. Police say the snowplow was attempting to turn left off Highway 61 onto Chippewa Road when it collided with the oncoming SUV heading north on the highway. The snowplow operator, a 57-year-old Thunder Bay woman, has been charged with careless driving.
After 5 long days, a dog that went missing in the Stanley area has been reunited with its owner.
The happy ending was made possible by a local videographer and his drone. The heartwarming rescue happened on Tuesday, and it was all caught on camera. Jess Clement has the story.
It's like winning the lottery, except the prize is like preventing somebody's turmoil and like the death of an innocent life.
When local videographer Nolan Denhart helped search for Honey, a 7-year-old golden lab, she'd already been missing for 5 days. He was contacted by the owner, who wishes to remain anonymous, but said after looking high and low, they wanted to try an alternate search method. Denhart took to the skies with his drone, which allowed them to find the dog near Highway 588 in what used to be a basement.
It was just pretty amazing that, you know, the help of that drone, just kind of that little bit of a perspective shift, like changed everything for that dog and her owner.
Honey was able to reunite with her owner right away, who said he was totally ecstatic when he saw her with his own eyes. Denhart notes after the post went viral, he's received a number of requests asking for help, including catching an injured owl at the marina on Thursday afternoon. He says the whole experience has helped him at a time where he's feeling lost.
I've been trying to really focus on my mental health and figure out like what it is that I want to do, and I've been feeling just like, I guess, a little bit lost in that way, and then this came up, and I thought it was just like such a great opportunity to find meaning, like meaning outside of just like paying bills. I just think this is a great reboot for me, and it's like really nice to have like such like meaningful and impactful things that I can do with my time, you know, make a difference.
Those interested in receiving help can contact Denhart through email or social media. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
A major funding announcement today from the federal government to boost skilled trade programs at Confederation College.
MP Marcus Pawlowski spoke on behalf of his government at today's news conference and explained where the funds will be allocated. Jaden Billick explains.
Faculty and students gathered in the Dorian Building at Confederation College campus to hear MP Marcus Pawlowski announce the funding initiative aimed at supporting a new generation of skilled trade students for the future of the region. The investment comes from the Canadian Apprenticeship Strategies Union Training and Innovation Program and totals over $400,000 for new equipment that will expand training opportunities.
I think you see some of the examples here of what they've done with the money in terms of purchasing an electric car. Apparently they're building a solar recharging station outside. There's a robotic welding machine. These are all things that they need in order to teach their students on how to maintain and fix new forms of technologies.
Dean of Trades, Apprenticeships, and Technology at Confederation College, John Cantola says the funding supports several classes in their Red Seal apprenticeship program. He says it's a privilege to have some of the leading edge technology, like their new electric Kia, that complements the current automotive service technician standard.
I believe the students are really excited to see the new technology. I know, again, looking at the car, the interest is there. It's a fantastic piece of technology and something that we don't have at that capacity. So the excitement is there at just the beginnings of launching this new equipment. So I think there's going to be a lot more excitement to come.
Some equipment purchased using the funding that hasn't arrived quite yet are industrial milling machines supporting select mechanical programs at the college and a diesel trainer engine for students to experiment with. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Premier Doug Ford was in Mississauga today, where his main talking point continued to be about the looming U.S. tariffs.
Ford continues to dodge questions about whether he'll call an early provincial election, something Ontario opposition parties say isn't necessary. Here's CTV's Siobhan Morris.
After thank yous and shout outs at the Mississauga Board of Trade, the Premier dove in.
I want to start by addressing the issue that's on every person's mind in our entire country right now.
The threat of 25% tariffs on Canadian goods entering the U.S. in a matter of days.
This is serious. This can affect anywhere from 250,000 to 500,000 people.
Job losses in Ontario, Doug Ford is trying to prevent, urging the federal government to strengthen our bonds with our southern neighbor.
To align and streamline regulations with the United States while eliminating unfair, anti-competitive taxes like the federal carbon tax and the digital service tax.
Premiers across Canada met with the Prime Minister yesterday, and Ford says they're on the same page about stimulus if tariffs can't be avoided.
We need to put some money into the economy. God forbid, the tariffs continue for a long period of time.
Ford imagines something like support for key industries during the COVID-19 pandemic.
To be very frank, I do not have the mandate to spend tens of billions of dollars right now.
Will you be looking for that mandate?
Well, stay tuned. We'll see what happens on January 20th or 21st.
The early days of Donald Trump's second administration. While there's been cross-country collaboration at Queen's Park, the opposition has been shut out of tariff talks.
Let's sit down together. Let's work together on this. But I've said 100%. There's certainly no reason to go to an election to get that mandate.
Doug Ford's Progressive Conservatives are way out in front in public opinion polling, but there's a call for focus rather than juggling.
Running as a candidate, being premier, and also negotiating with the federal government, with Washington. He cannot wear three hats right now. Ontario is crumbling.
Citing lack of access to a family doctor, homelessness, and high housing costs.
And that was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa has been nominated once again to represent the NDP in the next provincial election. Mamakwa will seek his third straight victory in the riding whenever the election is held.
I didn't know that I would be going on a third term. When you think about the last 6.5 years or so, it's been an experience, and I think because I had no plans to become a politician or to take this road at all. I had no plans.
Despite never planning to get into provincial politics, Mamakwa has been making waves at Queen's Park. Last May, he made history when he was the first MPP to officially address the Ontario legislature in an Indigenous language. Mamakwa, who's currently the deputy leader of the NDP, hails from Kingfisher Lake First Nation and has represented Kiiwetinoong since 2018. He was re-elected in 2022 with nearly 58% of the vote. Mamakwa says with the amount of support that he's seen from his constituents, he's optimistic that he'll retain his seat.
I think there is certainly a strong support, and I think when we talk about the northern issues, and I think that's so important to bring the issues together. Like no matter where you live, no matter where we are in Northern Ontario, when we talk about roads, when we talk about access to healthcare, mental health, and housing, it affects us all. And I think so. I am pretty confident, and I think not to say, elections are elections, and anything can happen as well.
The Ontario Green Party has nominated Carolyn Spicer to take on Mamakwa in Kiiwetinoong. Neither the PCs nor the Liberals have announced their candidates for that riding.
Thunder Bay police have charged a 73-year-old man for allegedly possessing child pornography after seizing multiple electronic devices from a Frederica Street home yesterday morning. Ronald Howard Wrigley was arrested at that time and appeared in court later in the day. Wrigley has been remanded into custody with a future court date.
Anyone interested in snowmobiling for a good cause should mark their calendars for February 8th. That's when Easter Seals Thunder Bay will host its 20th annual Grand Portage Snow-A-Rama. The fundraising event takes place across the border at Grand Portage Casino and will see participants ride along the northern Minnesota trails. All funds raised for the event will go to Easter Seals, which helps kids with physical disabilities by purchasing much-needed equipment and providing summer camp opportunities. Northern Ontario manager Rhonda Harrison says over the years, Snow-A-Rama has raised over $610,000 for the charity. She adds this year is extra special.
It's actually the 50th anniversary of Snow-A-Rama too. So we got a double special occasion. So 20 years of Snow-A-Rama at Grand Portage, but 50 years of Snow-A-Rama overall. We couldn't have got through 50 years without all the support we've gotten from the snowmobile community. So we're extremely grateful.
I think it's really good, honestly, to help people and help kids like me succeed in what they want to do in life. I just want to help kids feel like kids.
Those in the region who can't make it to Grand Portage have other chances to participate, with Sioux Lookout, Atikokan, and Red Lake also hosting Snow-A-Rama events. More information can be found at snowrama.org.
A lot of the organizers of some of these events that require a lot of snow,
yep.
Starting to feel a little more confident, Fiona, given the fluffy white stuff that we have seen this week, and it's not the end of it either.
No, we haven't been getting a lot at a time, but that just little bit keeps adding up. It's starting to build and allowing it to settle, which is actually probably making things look pretty good as far as the trails are concerned. Next 24 hours may have people a little bit concerned, though. If we take a look at what happened today, we had an overnight low of -5 and a wind chill of -12. Now, bear in mind, we should be closer to -20 at night without the wind chill. And today it warmed up to -1, a wind chill of -7. Now, it may not have always felt like that if you're outside, because it was pretty gusty, especially this morning, up to 55 kilometers per hour at times, and that caused a lot of blowing snow throughout. So not always necessarily the most comfortable thing to be walking around outside in, but the temperatures are definitely rising. Now, this is the radar for the last 12 hours or so. Little bit of snow first thing tapering off, And as you can see, clear for the rest of the day. But here's that Alberta clipper that is moving in from the west, and that is going to be our next round of precipitation that is heading our way. As far as temperatures are concerned in the region, as you can see, we're not the only ones seeing crazy warm conditions for this time of year. Now, we've had snow and periods of snow further to the north. In Red Lake at times, though, it was starting to turn into more freezing drizzle because of those rising temperatures. They're currently sitting at -5, and there is actually a snowfall warning in effect for tonight for the Red Lake area due to that clipper moving in overnight. Fort Frances, pretty gray, pretty overcast, and for much of the day they were sitting pretty close to the freezing mark, sitting no more than 0, but most of the day just slightly below. They're currently sitting at -3. Slightly cooler as you head further east. Greenstone currently at -10 and a wind chill of -13 with light snow all day. And Sault Ste. Marie has had periods of snow off and on. They're currently at -3, but because of the winds, because of the lake effect, it's feeling like -13 at this hour. Now, here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we will drop down to a low of -11, so a little cooler tonight, wind chills of -14. We'll start out with just a 40% chance of flurries as that clipper moves in. Bear in mind, a clipper moves very quickly. It does kind of a dump and run, just flies through, drops a little bit of snow, and then moves out. So there is going to be just a couple of centimeters beginning overnight with winds 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, but that's not completely the end of it. There could be a little bit more tomorrow, but again, the temperatures are still on the rise. If you thought today was mild, wait till you get a hold of what we're going to see tomorrow for the temperatures. Unfortunately, behind that, wait till you see what we're going to have for the weekend.
All right, well, we look forward to that fun surprise. Thanks a lot, Fiona. All right, after the break, we will turn our attention to the Liberal leadership race. Mark Carney has officially declared his nomination. He's led the Bank of Canada, held the same role in the UK, and over the weekend, we're expecting former Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland and Liberal House leader Karina Gould to follow suit. We'll have more on that after the break.
I'm back home in Edmonton to declare my candidacy for Leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister of Canada.